My name is Dudo and I'm the Goalie Gear Snob, and today we're going to talk about my 3-month review with the CCM Axis XF Pro set. So let's get into it. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about my first review of the CCM Axis XF Pro set. So this is technically a 3-month review, but I'm going to be honest, it's a little bit past 3 months. I initially got this set towards the beginning of April. So right around the time of filming is about a 4-month kind of window that I've had the gear. But the reason why I'm saying 3 months is because I have been using a few other sets in the meantime. So now at this point, it's basically been about 3 months of me using the set in a 4-month period. So now I'm going to talk about some cool features and some pros and cons of the Axis XF Pro line. But before I do that, I just wanted to thank you guys for watching this video here. And I just want to remind you to please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And also, please do me a favor and comment down below and let me know what you think of this retro graphic. But as we start getting into the review, I'm going to start with my favorite part of the set, the blocker. I know a lot of people have said a blocker is just a blocker. It's not. It's way more than that. A good blocker leads to better stick placement, stick positioning, movement, etc., etc. Just a good blocker makes for a great set. So for me, I really like starting with a blocker because I think there's a lot of good starting with this Axis XF Pro. It is not the Axis XF. The XF Pro is the higher model, not necessarily in terms of, like quality, but just more or less in terms of specs, color options, and things like that. So just starting off with the blocker here, the thin blocker shape is something that is kind of newer that CCM has been doing since the Extreme Flex 5. And I know that's only a few generations old, but having a thinner board helps reduce the weight. And the reason why there's a thinner blocker board here is actually from, I'll add in a little bit of a backstory, but essentially Thatcher Demko being the big CCM name that he is now, working with Ian Clark in Vancouver, they've always argued that a blocker with a stick should match the same weight as the glove on your hand. So CCM has gone through a lot of kind of changes across their blockers to make them even lighter than the previous generations before, so that the weight of their high-end sticks and the weight of their high-end blocker equals the weight of the glove. So I think that's very prevalent in this blocker right here. So starting off with the pros, I really like this thin board design. I really like how the weight of it and how it feels across, as I'm making saves and everything. It's very noticeable, how much lighter it is than previous generations. I've never weighed it, but just take my word for it, it weighs a lot less. And then when you look at the back, the wrist mobility, this is another pro for me. I've opened up this cuff as wide as humanly possible. And so I've moved the Velcro all the way into the loosest setting right here. And again, the outside edge of the wrist strap is actually on elastic, so it will flex and move with you. But I've really liked this wrist opening. I found it makes for a really good time for me to articulate, rotate, and move everywhere I need to. I can really angle my wrist forward as much as I need to and project out towards the puck. So I really like that wrist mobility. Moving into that and that hand projection kind of thought process there, I really like the rebounds on this blocker. I think they're very hot. I really like how it comes off the face. I can easily direct things where I need to go. But I did just want to take a few seconds to talk about the blocker board and the issue that I actually had with it. So I was not filming at the time I was using it. However, someone kind of fell on me and it actually snapped the entire blocker board all the way, like it bent it severely to the face. The insert, like the plastic insert, and then the board were folded and misshaped. So I had to pull everything out and reshape it to the best that I can. But I still feel like this top half is a little bit more curved than it was when I opened it. But that's something that I've kind of experienced. I did reach out to CCM, and Kaylie did mention that she could send me a brand new blocker board and insert to put in, but I've not taken her up on that offer yet, as I've just been using this. So I'm glad she was able to kind of offer some sort of warranty or some sort of fix for it, but I just elected to use it as is. The next thing I did want to talk about is the sidewall here. Super robust, super stiff. It does Velcro underneath, so you can kind of adjust it if you need to. But with the sidewall being super rigid, they didn't make the thumb rigid at all. So the thumb is very movable and flexible. So when I go to hold the stick, I feel like there's almost no break-in for me. I've really liked how the stick just integrates right in there. It's very movable. I really like that break-in right off the bat. And then leading into the thumb is the palm size. Did an intermediate palm because I have a slightly smaller hand. I wear a 13-inch player glove for reference, but I like a really tight-fitting blocker palm and a glove stall because I want my hands to take up the entire amount of basically material here. I don't want it to be loose or baggy, and I really like this intermediate tight fit right here. It feels great on the hand, and this palm material has held up extremely well. I've not had any issues with it so far after 3 months. The big con that I've had with this, and this is kind of going to go with the glove as well, is that my hands sweat so much when I play. Sounds like it's just a me issue, but they sweat so much when I play that when I just use it for an hour, hour and a half, I'm literally just squeezing water all across my sticks, and the sweat, you can literally see it beat up and roll down. So I don't know what's happening here, but it sounds like it's happening with every blocker, but I wish I had a little bit more airflow. I like that they switched to a super stretchy material on the gussets of the fingers here, but there's no real air in it, so I don't feel like I'm getting a lot of breeze into my hand when I'm using it. So I wish it was a little bit more breathable there. And then the other con as well, this is the biggest one that I've noticed after skating with the pro guys, is that the zipper on the outside edge, every time I make a blocker save, it starts to rattle and the zipper slowly opens up throughout use. So I'm constantly grabbing it and pushing it back down to try to make sure that it stays closed. My Axis 2 blocker, the zipper actually, like the clip did break off, so it was finally loose, got hit with a puck. So that's just something I wish was a little bit better here. But again, those are just some small negligible issues, but overall I've really enjoyed this blocker, really like the performance, really like how it's been using. And so yeah, now I'm gonna get into the left hand. I'm gonna grab my glove and we're gonna talk about that. The glove here has always been a cornerstone kind of piece for me on any set of gear that I use. So something I did just want to mention, and I know I've mentioned in other videos, but I'll say it here again. I don't have a proper working tendon in my ring finger. I got into a men's league fight almost 8 years or so ago, probably closer to 9, almost 10 years or so ago now. Went to grab someone and pull back, and my tendon popped off my finger and it got stuck inside of my palm. So I'd have major hand surgery to fix it. So when I hold my hand up, you can kind of see here that the tip of my ring finger never bends. It doesn't move because my tendon is attached to it. So I can block my other digits and move evenly. But yeah, so I don't have a proper working tendon in my ring finger. So for me, I want to get a glove that is extremely protective, but also will break in and give me that proper protection. This is a 580 Pro Palm without D3O. So basically kind of like what CCM was doing in their Reebok stuff, and even, you know, True without having their extra material in there. It's just basically just a 580 with a standard Pro Palm, which was the standard for years. I went back to it here, and so kind of a pro and a con is I knew this glove was going to be stiff. I didn't realize it was still going to be this stiff, you know, almost 4 months or so after using it. And now that you've heard the story about my tendon and my ring finger, it is very tough for me to continuously close this glove. I'm constantly pulling the extra material, so it's a little bit more of a hand workout as well. But I thought the glove was definitely going to break in a little bit more after that 3-4 month period. So I really wish that this was a little bit more broken in. So what I've been doing to remedy it is I've actually started to close the glove and keep a hockey lace tied around it to keep it closed. I've noticed that has really started to help it. And I did relace the backhand in a slightly different kind of green material, because I realized that the looser the backhand is on the glove, the easier it is for it to close. So I actually fully just kind of like removed it and started messing around with it, and I found the right tension so the backhand can sit on top of the glove, but it is not, you know, just kind of floating around so much. But yeah, so that's what I did to try to help a break in. And at this point in time, I'm not interested in sending it out to anyone to have them modify or mess with the glove or anything else. I want to continue to break it in myself. I've already done videos before with Dennis Dombrowski as he's fixed gloves, fixed the break, fixed the tee and everything. So I might contact him down the road to see if he can do something for me. But at this time, I'm just not interested in that. I want to continue to use that here. So much with the glove, where, you know, the pro and the con is how protective it is and everything there. I do have another issue with the glove, and that would be the wrist mobility. So I know I mentioned it in the original unboxing, but it is something I did just want to call out here, is that I entirely removed the wrist opening or the wrist piece that was right here. I wanted basically just to have even more mobility. I've done this to a lot of my gloves before. I know I mentioned, you know, I might do it to this one, but, you know, I did. So it basically was just an elastic strap that was holding it down, holding that material. So it did flex and move, but I just wanted it entirely gone. So that's what I did. So I just entirely removed that. So that's kind of a pro and a con, is that I'm getting the wrist mobility that I really like, but I had to modify and remove a piece there just to get it. So out of the box, you might not be experiencing it, but it is something I did just want to point out there. Something else I did want to point out as well too is that I did loosen up this backhand severely. And there was one time when I was in RVH and I had my hand kind of tucked in across the side of my body. Someone tried to shoot there. He was a WHL player, shot it, hit the back of the glove right here where my thumb is, and like severely bruised my thumb. But that was a me issue for putting my hand and exposing it like that. But had I had the backhand there, it might have protected a little bit more. But that is something I did just want to call out in the honesty there. So much like I've talked about the actual palm protection and how it is super protective, the one thing that I have noticed with a Pro Palm is that it is heavier. There's a lot more weight to it than I remember from Pro Palms. So this glove, while it is super protective and it's, you know, starting to break in to get that closure that I'm looking for, it's just very heavy on the hand, and I can feel my hand start to drift and move, and I just feel it throughout the time that I'm using it. I'm generally on the ice for an hour to an hour and a half. If I'm doing training sessions with the Stars, I'm usually getting about 120 to 140 shots in about a 40-minute period. So there's a lot of weight, a lot of movement that's going on there, and I just really feel it start to drift there a little bit. I have another glove sitting over there that is a little bit lighter that I do prefer to use at this point. But yeah, that's just something I'm trying to really kind of fight here, is that the Pro Palm, great for protection, but weight, I'm really starting to feel it. Plus, it's really still starting to break in. I mean, I don't remember Pro Palm gloves taking this long, but it has been a while. But yeah, this is tough for me, and especially once it starts getting sweaty and heavy, it's just, it feels like it's a little bit labor intensive to try to get it to close there. But overall, very happy with this glove. Other than those features, if I'm just playing or coaching and using it, I really like how it feels. I really like how it presents. Graphic is fantastic. The 580 single T, the intermediate palm, everything else has been fantastic. It's really just that weight and that Pro Palm just really starting to kind of, you know, just really pull down my hand a little bit there. But I'm a huge fan of this graphic. I really like how it looks. I really like how it came out, and I like it a lot more on the pads. So let's take a look at those. So I'm going to be showing you guys the left pad here so you can take a look at the strapping. I am going to talk about the strapping heavily, so I'm doing my best to show that off here. But before I get into the strapping, I did just want to talk about the size. And the size of the pads, again, are 32+1, and that is a little bit smaller than what I normally do. But again, the reason why I did that is because I wanted a pad that was super mobile, super short on the body, and my mobility has gone through the roof. I love how small this pad is on the body. And yes, there are a few times where I wish I had an extra ½ inch to the top. I've always kind of guessed maybe I should have done a 32+1.5. But the second I started guessing that I should have gone to a different size, I drop down and I get a full 2 inches of overlap in the thighs, and I'm like, I would hate wearing that extra ½ inch per pad. So I really like how this is performing in the overall size. I don't think I'd go to the larger size. I think I would hate that. So I really like the overall 32+1 size that I did here. Again, 5'10", 17 3/4 ankle to knee. I've never measured foot to knee, so please don't ask me, but those are my measurements, and that's what I prefer to wear here. So Now that I've got the size out of the way, I'm going to spin it around. I'm going to talk about the rebounds on the face of the pad here. I did not do the stiffest option that CCM offers. I did their stock option. However, you can get this a little bit stiffer if you prefer, but I really like this normal rebound and the normal stiffness that that I'm experiencing here. The rebounds are hot. I love them, especially coming off the thighs and having them rebound over to the corner. Plus, I really like the shape that the top half of the profile makes to really drive them over to the corner. So I'm a huge fan of that. Next, I want to talk about the inside edge of the pad. So this is the speed channel. So this is basically CCM's, sorry for saying it, but fancy word of saying that this is NHL spec. So for NHL specifications, the calf plate has to be recessed 1/2 inch from the inside seam. So that's basically what you're getting right here. You're getting it so it's reduced. So that does create a little bit of a better kind of flow where your main point of contact is here, and this is kind of set back a tiny little bit. Yes, of course, with pressure, it's going to start to hit the ice, but that's basically what they're calling it, is the speed channel. And you can see there's no special material on the inside edge of the pad. You just have your standard Gen Pro, and then you're going to have your HD foams on the inside. This slides not quite as well as a Bauer pad, but it is right up there with it. I think without having a special material on the pad, this sliding is fantastic. I can't stress that enough. This one-piece knee block design with this speed channel and the material here, like, I imagine if I got these a weave, they would slide even better. I've never had issues with speed skin on CCM pads, so I would be confident using that as well. But getting this solid material here, like, I absolutely love this. This has been so nice. And the speed channel works so well with the seal on the ice that I'm getting a perfect seal every time I drop down to the ice. So I love how the seal is on these pads. I really like this speed channel. I really like when I'm down in the butterfly, just how comfortable the pads are. And that extra comfort kind of comes in with the extra little pillow that's here between the calf wrap and the calf plate. There's a little bit more of a pillow there that you're not getting on the E-Flex line, that I feel that helps that comfort to kind of keep my leg supported when I'm in the butterfly. And yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. I love those. So this boot section of the pad, it is very flat, but I really do like it. So you have a little bit of a channel that's still here, but I really don't want my foot to sink into the pad. I like having it flat here. And this boot that CCM has designed, I just did the standard boot, nothing too crazy here. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because with how this core is specifically designed, I really like the RVH integration that I am getting with this pad here. So when I hit the post, I notice that the boot starts to flex and load, and then I push off, and it really feels like a spring. It's something that I have never really experienced in some other pads that I feel confident hitting the RVH and coming off the post. So I really like the integration I'm getting here with the pad. So I apologize to Kaylie if she did mention the special name of the design that they put into here, but this boot flex is fantastic. And considering that it's the stock flex, I think a lot of other people would really like that as well. So now that we have talked about the pros to everything on the set, I do want to talk about the cons. So for me personally, I ordered a 32+1 straight profile, and I was really thinking that that was going to be the issue to all of my problems that I was having. But now thinking about it, I absolutely should have done a pre-curve on the pads. So I've actually been flexing my pads a lot. And so don't worry about that sound. I'll address that here in a second. But so I've really been flexing my pads heavily to get them to curl back. And the straight profile is that straight. It really doesn't allow for a lot of curve. I thought I was going to get that perfect break-in that I was looking for. Sadly, I didn't get it. So when it comes to the 5-hole closure, it's not 100% perfect all the time. It's still up there, like I was talking about earlier. But I really do wish that I had that pre-curve. That would probably help the pad come back in a little bit more. That sound you're hearing here, that is a me issue. I'm pretty sure that I unglued some foams on the inside of my thigh because I put all 220 pounds of myself on the pad when it was upside down to try to flex it down. and I heard the glue pop. So on the inside foams of the pad, they basically layer foams in there with some special materials and they glue between them, then lace through it. I'm pretty sure I'm just hearing some glue rubbing on the inside, but that is a me issue. That is 100% not a CCM issue. Should I have put all 220 pounds of myself and weighed down on the pad to try to get it to flex? No, I did that. That's a me issue. Don't go after CCM. I did just get a little fired up over that, so I want to take a quick break and kind of start getting into the strapping of the pad here now. So when I go into the strapping of the pad, I had to do a few special things on the pad to make it work a little bit better. So I originally ordered an extra calf strap. I did order the quick motion in tight fit with an extra lower strap. I have removed that lower strap. I do not wear it. I'm glad I did the black Velcro here, so I don't really notice it too much. But I kind of found that it was a little bit redundant. Didn't necessarily need to have it there. There's a few times where I kind of think maybe I need to have it where the pad is just ever so slightly better anchored to my leg, but I've been going without it for, probably only wore it for 5 or 6 skates on there, then I took it off, so it's been a full 2 months without it, so I don't really think I need to go back to it, but I really like that here. When it comes to this internal calf strap, one of the issues I had on the original Axis 2 was that this strap was kind of like affixed and I could not adjust it. But I made some separate videos that I will be putting on the social outlets that are going to show how you can adjust this strap. And I've actually loosened up this strap by about 2, almost 3 full inches to get as much length out of it as I need. And I did have someone ask this question on Instagram. I thought it was a little bit odd. They asked, when I put this strap around my leg, how loose is this strap? Like how many fingers can I fit sideways between the back of my leg and the strap? And the answer is none. I mean, this strap, there shouldn't be any gap in it. It should be sitting tight on the leg. It's elastic, so you want it to sit against the leg. Of course, the tighter you pull it, it's harder for the elastic to engage, but I just figured I would address that right here. I want to get some extra pull out of the strap, so I adjusted it as loose as possible. But if I want to make it tighter, I can actually feed it through the reducer and pull it all the way down to the inside edge if I need to. But really, I just put it at the strap, put it so it's almost at like the loosest setting right here. But again, if I wanted to, I could pull this all the way down on the inside edge, but I just want to get as much length out of the strap as possible. This outer calf strap, I've done nothing special to. I keep it pretty loose on the leg. I like a little bit of a looser bottom half, as I was kind of already talking about. Really liking this quick motion strap. And the knee section is where things got a little weird for me. So I normally like to strap my pads down to the calf right here. But after Scott Wedgwood chirped me a little bit about always going down here, so I started to experiment with putting this strap up next to the knee. So as much as I like this strap above the knee, at the knee, I was noticing that the drop speed was a little bit slower for me, and I wasn't getting the proper kind of like feel that I'm looking for in the pad. So I like to continue to have it strapped down. With a straight profile, the more I strap it down, I don't get quite the right 5-hole closure. Again, if I had the pre-curve, I could strap this down without issue, but this is what I had to do to supplement it. So I took this idea from True Pads. However, I want to give a huge shout out to Mike Bruins, who helped make these straps for me. It's actually his version of a true strap, which is slightly longer than normal. So all I did was put basically this nylon strap out of the bottom of the knee block. It has the Velcro, so it attaches perfectly in here. Little tiny Gen Pro tab, and I just attach it to the outer knee wing. It essentially acts like a pretty tight kind of like strap directly out of the knee block, but instead of angling it down just below the knee, it goes right to the knee. I did think about, when I order these, if I should have done one strap at the knee instead of below the knee, but this buckle would have really gotten in the way. It's a little bit old school, so kind of like this newer idea right here. This is not stock on CCM pads. It would be stock on True Pads if you want to order that or get it on a retail pad off the shelf. But again, I had Mike Bruins put that on here, but again, just something I did just want to call out as a little bit more special for me. But those are all the pros and cons I have across everything here on the set, but I'm going to put this pad down and I want to talk about a little bit more, and hopefully you're going to see some on ice footage of me using them. So let's talk about it. So instead of putting my hands in front of me and get another chirp from my brother, I'm going to lean on the shelf right here and I'm going to talk about some cool stuff with the gear. So I did just want to talk about my experiences with this set so far. So I did receive this set almost right around the kind of like the first week of April, and my video came out towards the end of April. So I did have that set and use it for a few times before the unboxing came out, sorry. But that set that I had, that I was using, I only got to take it to one game when I was still the emergency backup towards the end of the regular season. So as much as I really wanted to use the set and really put it through the ringer and just kind of get used to it, I wasn't able to because there was just that one game left in the regular season. There's no other training that was going on. And then emergency backup goalies are not used through the playoffs because basically, long story short, salary cap kind of doesn't exist in the playoffs. So they always stack extra people and have a kind of like a practice squad. It kind of differs per team, but I was not needed through the playoffs, so I didn't really have a chance to start testing it. So use the set with the alumni, use the set and all my other kind of private skates and the groups that I'm a part of, and I was really liking the set, but it took me a while to get the strapping dialed in to where I needed it to get the right height out of the pad, to get the right feel, and really start to have things break in throughout that time. So the blocker was basically perfect. As soon as I got it, I almost had to make no adjustments to it. For the glove, like I was talking about, I did have to do a little bit to the back wrist cuff. I did have to do a little bit more to start breaking it in, loosen up the backhand, etc. Pads, all the strapping I had to mess with and things like that. But now that I am in the summer, I have been using this set off and on with the Stars. I've been using the Warrior G7 set and the Axis XF Pro set back and forth as I'm training with some of the pro guys that are still in town. Small group of guys, usually 5 or 6. It doesn't get over 8. As it starts ramping up throughout the summer, there's going to be some more guys there. But I did just want to point out that by using this XF Pro set, I have taken bombs to the hands, the glove and blocker, and I have felt nothing other than that one I took across the back of the finger that I've already kind of talked about. The blocker has been perfect. The glove, the protection is there in the palm, like the Pro Palm works. I'm really liking that feel. It's finally starting to break in there and I'm keeping pucks in the pocket. They're not, I feel like I just had a second blocker out there, but it's really starting to control more pucks with it. And the pads, I'm really liking the seal, the slide, the rebounds, everything is working phenomenally well. So I know at this point here, a lot of people will be asking, what my final thoughts are on the gear. And basically where I'm at right now is that I'm very happy with the gear. I think that as it continues to break in, it's going to be working a lot better for me. And I've really liked where I've gotten all the strapping. I feel like I finally got it dialed in. I know a lot of people will then ask, is this going to be the set you would take with you for other games, other practices, etc. And truth be told, I really like experimenting with gear. That's why this channel exists. That's why these reviews exist, because I'm always trying new stuff and talking about loads of other things. But I think it's up there with one of my favorite sets. I love the retro graphic. It matches a lot. It has the right kind of green hints on everything that match the team, match the pants, match the helmets, etc. So I'm really liking all of that. The performance is up there. Like I said, I had to dial it in to get everything to start to feel correct. But I don't think it's going to be my end-all be-all set. I think I'm just going to continue to experiment and use more gear, but it's definitely up there, kind of hovering right around that kind of first position, with the Warrior G7 set. And that review is going to be coming out at a later time. But I did just want to talk about a few other things with CCM particularly. I just want to give a huge shout out to Kaylie Dankevy, who helped get me this set and allowed me to be able to talk about this set and all the cool features that are inside of it. I'm sure there are some that I missed. I'm sure there are some that I even mentioned that she might not have even known as well. But I just want to give a huge shout out to her for helping make this happen and allowing me to use the CCM gear and the CCM brand. So now that I've reviewed the set after 3-ish months, I did just want to ask you guys now to comment down below. Let me know what you think about that retro graphic and ask any questions that I may have missed. If there are that I did, or excuse me, If there are some that I did miss, I might do another video in a few months and talk about that, kind of where they are after 6 months, or I might just do my best to answer them in the comments. But if I don't answer it, don't take it personally. I might just be stacking it up for another video. But I just want to thank you guys for watching this video. I just want to thank you for subscribing and checking everything out. And of course, just comment down below and let me know if there's anything that I missed. But my name is Dudo, and I'm the Goalie Gear Snob, and thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this video. I'd really appreciate it if you liked, commented, and subscribed, and also rang that cute little Liberty bell for some notifications about what I upload to my channel. Please check me out on some of my other social outlets. Are going to be linked down below.